The following presentation was brought to you by Notary Stars, Online Notaries Public, Cyberize It, and Unlimited Ink Notary. If you find this presentation useful, consider joining us as a member at NotaryStars.com, where you'll unlock over 150 hours of notary and loan signing agent training and gain access to a library of useful knowledge to enhance your career. All right, everybody. We are taking over William Bumphreys' class tonight. If you're not aware, we teach a Ron class every Friday here at Notary Stars. But we wanted to open this up to all membership levels, even those who are completed training with us or still training with us or not even training with us, because we feel it's an important conversation for everybody to kind of get in on. You guys know I like to talk more off the cuff than by notes, but I do have some notes because I want to make sure we hit all of the points. Now, as we get started tonight, I would like to ask you if you could turn on your cameras so that everybody can see your face. We can interact with you, that the guests that we have here tonight can also see your face if you're available. Now, if you are driving, please remain on mute and off camera. We can care more about your safety. This meeting is being recorded. It will be put on our YouTube channel. And if you're watching on our YouTube channel, there will be nothing shared on the screen that is worth your life tonight or anyone else's around you. So please make sure if you are in a car moving around that you remain off camera and in listen only mode. With that said, we're going to get started right into the topics for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and pin up Miss Amy and Bill. And let's see if I can find Bill here. And then we'll get myself pinned here. And then I want you guys to know that as we go, we will be having a hard stop tonight in 1 hour. So please, if you have questions, get your hands raised virtually. Feel free to, interrupt us as we go along. That we want this to be kind of an interactive meeting tonight. But the first thing that I want to start out with tonight is getting started in Ron. And, if you've already gotten started, great. This is still going to apply to you. But I want to start out by saying that waiting to get started as a Ron notary right now is a really bad idea. 2 years ago, I kind of said, let's wait, let's see where it's going. I have changed my conversation over the last 2 years. And if you haven't heard that conversation, I know a lot of you look up to me and Beth at Notary Stars. So I want to say right now, if you're not started, it is a really bad idea. You're getting left behind in so many ways. And we're going to go into all of that tonight. We have many more topics, but I want to start out with that one topic. And let me explain why you're getting left behind if you're not getting a part, if you're not starting with Ron. And we're going to take that even deeper tonight. But right now, the Ron notaries, some of them have built their business up so far that they don't leave their home. And there are other notaries who are doing mobile and Ron. They're filling in their calendars. And what's happening is, for those notaries, they are building up their order counts. For the ones that are kind of doing still mobile and available for Ron, they're building up their order counts. And not only are they taking orders that you could have, but they're becoming the go-to notary for the paper signings as well, because they're there to save the day when somebody needs a Ron notary. And they're saying to their clients, hey, I do paper signings as well. Don't just call for me for Ron. At Unlimited Ink, we have X amount of files every month, and it seems to be growing. We actually have a contract on the table now for a pretty large Ron client, which would be 6 to 10 a day. We're still in negotiation over pricing at the moment, but even at our current level, we see some issues with notaries not being prepared for Ron. I see so many times where notaries have signed up for a Ron platform and then they mark themselves as they are ready to take on Ron. And then we call them and offer them a Ron and they're not ready. And I have to tell you, as a signing agency owner at Unlimited Ink, when I call on someone, I don't know when to circle back or if you really took on the initiative to become Ron ready. And honestly, at our level of business, I and my scheduling team and Travis don't have time. We can't be the keeper of notaries. And I mean that with love, but I really try to give anybody at Notary Stars or Online Notaries Public opportunity. Amy sent me her entire list so we could make a cyberize it list in signing order. I've done that with many notaries, and I will tell you, we use the same notaries over and over again for Ron because they're ready. They're ready to take that business. And I feel kind of guilty at sometimes when I give the same notary all the files, because I want to give opportunities to other notaries. But how can I do that if when I call on a notary and say, hey, I have a Ron signing, or, can you take it? Oh, I'm not ready yet. And I know, Miss Amy, if you want to chime in on that, I know you have had the same issue and you own the platform. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with that?
So I run into that almost every single day. And what happens is we put it out there for clients to come and connect, and we let them pick their state. And then we go through, and when they post something to the job board, only notaries in that specific state can claim it. Well, either the notaries in that state aren't available, or they're not ready. They're too uncertain of themselves. They have no confidence, or they just literally don't answer their phone. So then at that point, we have to analyze and push that to somebody that can take it. And a lot of times that means I got to cross them into a different state and get them with a different notary. And sometimes that's not a solution. I have had to go and email, I've texted, I've called, I have went so far as to reach out to a notary who left my platform, was not paying me, because they knew what the software could do and they were willing to help my client. And I went through 15 notaries that were already actively paying to be on my platform, but none of them felt like they could do the job. And it was a one-stamp document. It was not even that difficult, but I run into this constantly. And then, when we get these phone calls, I got an email tonight. There's a gentleman. Well, he's got to get a document notarized for sam.gov. He's Virginia based. It has to be a Virginia notary. It's been rejected twice. Another notary referred him to me, and I referred him to the one Virginia notary that I know will bend over backwards and get him taken care of. I refer all of my work to her because the other Virginia notaries, they're not competent yet on the platform. And I look at their statistics to see who's doing what, how many are they doing, how many times are we reaching out for help. And, it's very small people that are reaching out for actual help. They're just saying, oh, no, I'm on it. But, yeah, so I run into that almost daily.
Yep. And you mentioned something too that I'd love to hear from Bill and see what he sees in his course. Bill's been an instructor with us for over a year now at Notary Stars as a Ron instructor. And Ron, Bill, I'd like to know how you feel confidence plays a role for notaries in Ron. I mean, you've spent every week coming up with material, and I know you plan your material out pretty well. You've got that educational background. How do you feel confidence plays a role for notaries in the Ron sector?
I think for most people, I mean, I explain it almost every time. It's going to be like everything else you do in life for the first time. The first time you do it, you are going to be nervous. You're going to panic that you're going to make a mistake. But I always kind of remind them in class, but just keep this in mind. You still know more than the person that you're sitting across from. And so even if you've made a mistake, if you make a mistake that could come back on you, then yeah, that's a problem. But, I think a lot of people are too worried about this notion that they have to have this perfect, no flaws transaction. And life is not like that. And I give that example every time it happens in class. I have things go sideways all the time. You just have to kind of smile, collect yourself, don't show that you're panicked, and you kind of just move forward and you work with it. It's not I think a lot of people make it out to be a lot harder than it is. Now, that being said, you have to know the basics of what you're doing. You can't go into it and not know anything. But I think that, with practice with another notary or someone that can serve as, your volleying partner, at least in the beginning, it makes it a lot simpler. But that's, to me, is the biggest thing. The basics are the basics. Once you know how to do those, the rest kind of just stretches out from there. And so all the time, if I have things go wrong, I just kind of smile and, just push my way through, because what else are we going to do? I mean, it's either that or just say, hey, we're going to have to do this at another time, which is completely fine as well, but not ideal. So.
That reminds me, when I was in my 20s, a lot of people know this, I worked in bars all through my collegiate career. And I remember I started working at a bar when I was 18. This is a long time ago when you could work at bars and serve alcohol at 18. And I remember there were two questions I asked on my first night. I asked the bartender, I said, how do you know everybody's name? And he goes, I don't. I just call everybody baby. And then the second question was, how do I remember all these drinks? They said, you don't. You just smile and nod. And if they don't know what's in it, just give them anything. And so I made it through. But, it is a little bit harder with Ron. I don't want to make light of a serious situation, which brings me to three things Amy posted in the chat here. The 3 C's you need for Ron are confidence, charisma, and control. And it's kind of funny. And she saw my notes. So this goes right along. I wanted to make this a little bit more upbeat. You guys know that I can get a little preachy at times. My grandmother said, you're going to be a preacher one day before she passed away. And I think she foresaw that I was going to be passionate about something. I don't think, I was able to reach that level, but I want to get to the 3 F words today. And then we'll go to a question. The first F word is fear, which it leads from that last point. You got to be aware of the 3 F words, which are, and sorry, you guys know I hate notes. Fear, funds, and frequency of use. Let's talk about the fear, and then I'll pause there. I think a lot of times notaries are afraid of their craft. In general, they're not afraid of Ron. That's an additional fear. They're afraid of their craft as a notary. They're not confident enough yet in their craft as a notary. And if you are out doing signings and you're not getting negative feedback, it's time to go ahead and start adding on Ron for sure. If you're still nervous about it, that's okay. Ron's not going to make you any more nervous. There's no way it's not going to make you any more nervous. And honestly, if you're not nervous, you're complacent. If you're not challenging yourself, you are complacent, and you don't want to be complacent as a business owner. You do want to try yourself. We're not asking you to jump out of an airplane and try to perform a notarization on the way to the ground and safely open a parachute. We're asking you to pick a platform, get to know that platform, practice with your friends and family on that platform, and get comfortable with that platform. Now, let's take a question from Miss Nancy. She's had her hand raised there for quite a few minutes, and I promised you guys we would answer questions along the way. Miss Nancy, what's your question there?
So I looked at this, Ron, when I first got involved with you guys, and call me the newbie. I am not quite sure how to set up and so I'm really excited that you're doing this tonight, because I want to do this. And I looked at Arizona, and they're like, well, who's your platform? How is this? How is this? And it asked 3 questions. And you know what? I don't know the answers that we need to put in those boxes so that we can start Ron. So that's why I'm excited about this class, because I figure, I went to William's class last week thinking that maybe we would get something out of there. And we didn't have enough time to go into this. So how do I actually really get started?
That is a really great question. It's going to be different for every state. Now, I just so happen to be 2 times into adding Ron to my notary commission in Arizona. And I know exactly what you need to put on your application. And I have no problem doing a personal call with you. If you reach out to me at Notary Stars, contact@notarystars.com. I can show you my application. and what I put on that application and how to maximize your opportunity on that application. With other states, I haven't filed that RON application, so you will kind of be on your own unless you have another notary that you can rely on. But I have to tell you, when I did it the first time, I had to figure it out. But if you are in Arizona, you do have an Arizona notary here that can help you. And I've helped many notaries with getting their initial first step going. In other states, what we can do is we can try to pair you with another notary star who has gotten their RON going, or Amy may know notaries in other states that she might be able to pair you up with. She's a wonderful resource. She's not all about just Cyberize It. She actually cares more about RON period than she does her own platform sometimes. So you can utilize either one of us as a resource on how to get started with those. And that'll be actually a project, now that you mentioned that, we may see if we can't start a little how to get started in each state blog for everybody at Notary Stars and reach out to all the different notaries throughout the country. We've got 2 more questions up, and then I want to get back to the bullet points, but you guys keep the questions coming. We'll go ahead and take these 2 that are up now. We have Dana up next.
Hey, Ronnie, I just wanted to ask, I'm in Arizona too, and on the Secretary of State's website, they have a list of different RON platforms that they suggest. Mm-hmm. Now, do you happen to know if we have to go with one of those platforms, or can we go with somebody like, say, Cyberize It?
You can go with any platform. You can go with any platform, I believe it is. You can go with any platform that's listed on there, or you can go with anyone that's approved with the state. Now, I will tell you this, I put everyone that I possibly could on my application, even though I'm not signed up with them, in case I got a client that required me to use a particular platform. We're going to get kind of into that in one of the next bullet points. But I will tell you, if you reach out to me, I'll share the snippets of my application of what I put on it, so that you can see how I listed all of those in order to get as many as I possibly could.
I would appreciate that, because I filed for my second RON commission using exactly the same language that issued me my first one, and they denied it. And I didn't understand why.
I had the same problem, and I have to go back to look at my email communication. I believe the issue was one little wording, and I had to write them and explain to them why I put it the way it was, and then they approved it immediately and emailed it to me that day.
Okay, I'll get with you to figure out what we need to do to get the Arizona Secretary of State to approve mine.
Absolutely. And what I'll do is I'll actually schedule a time in the next 2 weeks to see if I can't do a Saturday or a Sunday with all the Arizona notaries. So maybe we can all get on a Zoom and figure this out all together. So anybody that's under the Notary Stars, I'll send out an email to all of you guys.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next question, we're going to go back to the notes after Miss Beth. Miss Beth, when you are ready. Oh, you unmuted and then muted. Hold on. There we go.
Unmute.
There
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So when you're talking about first or second RON commissions, are you talking about like exemplars? Like in New York State, we have to do an exemplar where we have to do sort of like a faux notarization in an electronic platform. And then we have to send that to the SOS and have them approve it. So that's actually been the complicated thing for me. They've both been approved for 2 different platforms, one just today. But I was hearing that they take like 3 weeks to get our SOS to approve them. And amazingly enough, this last one only took 1 week to do, but we can't use a platform until we have one that approved by our Secretary of State. And that's, so I'd like to add more platforms. It's just so time consuming to do it. So I'm curious, when you're talking about more than one RON commission, are you talking about like after yours expires, or you want to renew it, or if other states require this exemplar?
So any of the other panelists are welcome to chime in on this, but when I say RON commission, you get one RON commission, but you can add several platforms to it. And my rule of thumb is you add every platform that you could possibly interact with to that commission. you know, if possible, it sounds like in New York, it might be a more complicated state. So you might need to be a little bit more calculated about which ones you add. So for instance, if you're working with Amrock, you may want to go ahead and get Nexus ClearSign on there, because that's where they do most of their business now, is on Ron. If you have a client that's using, you know, Cyberize It, Blue Notary, eNotary Log, then you may want to add those next. That's going to be a little bit more calculated. In Arizona, I can just add all of them and then go sign up with those platforms as needed. If I didn't answer that question, just let me know, but I want to make sure I did get it answered. Okay. So we're still talking about those 3 F words here. And by the way, Bill and Amy, did you guys have anything else you wanted to add on to that? Okay. So going back to those 3 Fs, I just want to finish up with the fear part of it. You know, I'm smiling a little bit because some of these are a little funny for me, but I want to make it clear to you, you know, right when Ron first started coming out, my big warning to everybody was, you got to really know what you're doing because you're on camera now. And I have seen some notaries make some pretty big mistakes on Ron. Most recently, we had a notary who notarized several transactions with military IDs and, you know, did certain things and took pictures of them. Can't do that. You know, we had a notary that notarized real estate documents in Arizona on a foreign passport. Can't do that. And I wouldn't say that these were under Unlimited Ink or Notary Stars members. It was actually just notaries that reached out to us saying, I didn't know I couldn't do this. And I was like, oh, please come to training. Let us help you. But I want to point out something that I think is kind of funny. You are already on camera most of the time when you are performing notarizations, whether you realize it or not. Okay. Does it, you know, think about how many people have cameras in their house right now that are literally pointed at the dining room and the front door and can overhear your conversations and could prove that you said something or did something that you did. And I mean, in high definition, as good as I can see you right now, my entire house is on camera from the front door to the windows, my dining room table. The only place in my house that doesn't have a camera is bedrooms and changing rooms, like bathrooms, because I'm worried about people breaking in and all those kinds of things. And, you know, so you're already on camera when you're doing your job. So you can't let the fear of your notarization practice keep you from becoming a Ron notary. Moving along to the second F word, the fees one. Another thing that I see always holding notaries back from getting into the Ron sector. And if you're just joining us, part of the reason for this is to keep other notaries from taking your business, especially other notaries in other states. You want to be able to, you know, if you're in California, unfortunately, you're kind of like one of the last men standing, but you're going to need to kind of get on it when it opens up. So I'm glad you're here if you're in California. But fees. So just to recap the types of platforms that are out there, there are platforms that bring you business and you can't use them for any other notarizations like Nexus ClearSign. That's if you're working with Amrock. I think ServiceLink, Amrock owns it. And you don't pay anything. They give you the business. That's the caveat. Okay, then there's hybrid platforms where they provide you business and they don't pay you that well. And, you know, they take a percentage because they got the business, just like a signing agency. And then you can use it and they charge you a fee to use the platform because they have to pay fees to make that platform run. Okay, so those are in my mind are and then there's just bring your own business platforms. The fees that it costs to start with a Ron platform, you do have to analyze those. You do have to say, you know, which one is going to work for me the best. You know, which one, and you might have to try one and say, I like it, I don't like it, I like this one, pick one. That's really important. But the fees and the cost of running as a Ron notary are part of owning a business. And you have to write things off. For those of you that have attended the live scan training, guess what? When you do a live scan, you send the money that you collect to the DOJ, I believe it is. I'm not doing live scan at the moment myself, plan on hopefully doing it in the future. But when you collect that money, you have to pay. It looks great when you collect it in, but you're keeping a certain portion of that money. The rest of it goes to the Department of Justice so they can process the fingerprints. There is a cost to running a business. And, you know, I want to say it like this, and I mean this with love. I'm trying to get a little less preachy in life, but we are all so very lucky for what it costs to open this business and what we can actually do with it and all the sidelines that we can do with it. You know, I know some states are a little bit more expensive, but, you know, I estimate that, and let's do really high, 5,000. And that's if you're just buying like state of the art everything and probably putting a down payment on a new car. Like, it's more like under 2,000 to really get started. Maybe 2,500 if you do all the trainings out there at once. There's no other business that we can go into. There's no degree that you can go pay less for to get a job in something. We really can like get started in this industry pretty scot-free on cost. I mean, you can almost anybody can get a credit card for $2,500 and start this business. And then we want to complain about a $29 or $39 fee. Do you know there's so many more businesses out there that pay so much more than we do per month for their ability? I mean, it blows my mind. Like I'm fascinated with this new carpet cleaning company that I use. It's called OxyClean. The first time they came here, there's no sound whatsoever. Everything's done with oxygen. They don't have to run hoses all through my house. I get my carpets cleaned once a month because I'm like a germaphobe clean freak. Anybody who's called me after hours knows I'm always washing dishes or cleaning the house or doing something, but their technicians rent their machines. And it's 118 degrees out in Arizona this week. And I asked them when they came this time, I was like, is it worth it to be driving around and hauling that one machine? And it's, they have to pick, the technician picks this up because it's pick upable. And they were like, yeah, the machine rental is the only cost, other than gas, and we make great money. It's kind of like that, Ron. You have to kind of pay for your materials. It's a business, and you can't let that get in your way or scare you from taking that step when it comes to, expanding your business and run. And now frequency of use. Okay, this kind of runs along two lines here. This is the third F word. I had to make the F word, the last F word, a phrase. Frequency of use. Amy, you know a lot about this. When you sign up with a bring your own business platform, the first question out of every notary's mouth is, how am I going to get business with this? If I pay you $39 a month or whatever platform, 29 or 59, how are you going to bring me business? Well, if it's a bring your own business platform, they're not going to bring you business. You're going to bring you business. And if it's a hybrid, unless you're ready and worked your way up, you're still not going to get business. You're going to have to bring your own business to that side of the platform. That means you're going to have to market. And I'm not plugging Notary Stars in any way, but I will tell you, I am the only trainer in this entire country that can teach you how to make one landing page to come up in every single zip code across America. And it's part of my marketing course. I am a Wix Legend, which is the highest level status partner. And any of my marketing students, I see them on here, knows that I've taught this in my marketing class. You've got to market your Ron business. You've got to take that initiative, whether it means take a marketing course, learn to manage your website. You've got to talk to your clients. If you're working direct with clients, you got to let them know about your platform. Ask them, how can I get this approved with your underwriters? Can you send this to them? Can you make sure that this platform's good? Ask them. The underwriters, I guarantee you, already have platforms approved too. And they may have 2 or 3, and platforms are always going to underwriters trying to get approved. So you got to ask them, what platform are you using so that you can add that to your Ron commission? Okay, it's really important conversation that you have to have. No one's going to have that conversation for you. And I will tell you, when the lights go off on this camera, it's every notary for himself. I mean, Amy and I love you. Bill loves you. We all care about you. But you have to take the knowledge of what you just heard and implement it. And if you turn off the camera and you don't make an action item later of having that conversation, not going to happen. Now with signing agencies, you have to have the conversation. Now, I would not send out an email to every signing agency tomorrow, okay? I want to make that clear before this comes out of my mouth. If you have a signing agency that you're working with regularly, okay, and you know the schedulers, we all have some of those, right? I know those that work with Unlimited Ink have some, and I've worked with signing agencies where the schedulers knew me. When you have that moment, instead of asking for more business, take a moment and say, hey, you know, Jill, I get tons of local signings for you. Just want to let you know I'm on these RON platforms, and if you have one that's approved, I'd love to be marked down, but only tell them that if you're actually ready. Add it to your email signatures, what platforms you have, so that when you're communicating with signing agencies or platforms, that they can mark it. At Unlimited Ink, Signing Order did something really amazing this year because you can mark yourself as a remote online notary. And I really encourage all of you in your platform, and I have only seen a few notaries actually take this initiative. Notary Stars has the ability to mark what platforms you are on. Online Notaries Public has the ability to mark what platforms you're on. Signing Order now allowed the signing agency owners to create special lists. So what we did was we went through and said, Cyberize It, Blue Notary, eNotary Log, whatever platforms we know you're on, we've now marked you in those categories. But notaries are often changing platforms and not updating, you know, the signing agency. If you are working as a RON notary and you change platforms, you need to let those who know who are using you. You know, it's a conversation that should be ongoing and ever changing. Bill and Amy, do you have any words on that?
Definitely. Another thing is when you're doing your post on social media or any kind of ad that you've got something maybe on Thumbtack or whatever, you want to list the RON platforms on there too, because a lot of times people are looking for specific software, because if they want to use, they've got Fidelity as an underwriter, there's only 2 platforms that have Fidelity approved status. So people are going to be looking for that specific underwriter for that document. In addition to that, or that specific platform. In addition to that, people will go to the Secretary of State's website to see who they have on their list as platforms. And then people start searching for that platform, and you want to be found in those search results. So we don't want you to advertise for us as a platform like, you know, like we're going to take your clients away from you. We don't want to do that. But by putting that on there, it gives you more exposure into those different SEOs that you don't even realize are needed. So those are that's valuable information to have in everything that you do.
Yeah. We have a question from Miss Nancy Fauché out of Florida here. Miss Nancy.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
So when I did my application for my RON, I put on there because they ask you what platform are you using. And the only one I was using at the time was Nexus ClearSign, because I was only doing them through Amrock. But now I'm moving forward and trying to use, I'm learning 2 other ones right now. Do I have to advise the Secretary of State when I add platforms?
I don't know the
Yes.
law in Florida.
The answer is yes.
Okay, so Amy says yes.
How do I do that? Is there a
You just
form?
fill out that form again for the respective platforms that you're adding.
And just send that form into them?
Then just send it in.
Okay, I don't have to pay them again, or just send them that form?
Well, payment's going to vary by state. I don't think that you have to pay for adding a platform in Florida, but if you were adding a platform in Nevada, you have to pay $50. So it's state specific. So I want everyone to realize that, but you should be able just to add. Now I know, like here in Ohio, I can just log in and just add it right into my profile. So it's different in every state.
Okay, but in Florida, I have to send them that form. Okay, I mean, it was only
Correct.
$10 when I first did it, so I mean, it's not I'm not gonna starve over it, but just good to know. All right, thank you.
Thank you. In Arizona, I don't believe we have to pay to update our RON. I don't recall paying a fee. Nobody quote me on that, but I don't believe that it's a fee to update and add more platforms. I want to go on to another part of the topic because we're kind of leading into that as well. And this is just free marketing advice for Ron. So tonight, to recap, because I know that the attendance has gone up and down, just to recap a little bit before we go into this next little part of the topic. Being ready to be a Ron notary is so important to your notary and loan signing agent career, whether it's bringing you a ton of business now or not, because there are pioneers throughout the country who are literally just sitting at a desk making great money as Ron notaries, taking as much business as they can. They've been building it up. And there are notaries who are doing both, and they're getting your paper signings too, because they're flexible. They're that go-to notary, and they're being rewarded because they're able to do Ron. Now, Amy and I both, if you just joined in, said, we have a hard problem every day filling Ron orders because notaries mark themselves as Ron notaries, but then they're not actually ready to do Ron. And so, Travis says it best, but every business owner has to make business decisions, but you cannot let fears, fees, or frequency of use get in your way, because we are on the precipice of Ron becoming more prevalent. Okay. There's been a lot of backlash from, or not backlash, but a lot of hesitancy from title and escrow companies, specifically underwriters, because that's a lot of money. But we have a client right now at Unlimited Inc. that is a debt settlement company. And we're very careful about who we partner with as debt settlement companies. They're actually a really great company. And they're moving all of their business to Ron, except for their rural area signings where they don't have internet, or the people are of a certain age and can't do it. And we're pioneering with them. And they're taking that business. I predict, seeing a company like this, more debt settlements starting to come out via Ron. And that's opening up more market for you guys. A lot of doctors' offices and things like that. I just went to the hospital last week for kidney stones. Some of you may have talked to me while I was having my child, so to speak. And I was amazed. I didn't fill out one single form at the hospital. They sent me a text message on my phone, and it was a virtual AI assistant that walked me through, checked my name, checked my insurance, scanned my ID, let me know when the doctor thought that they would be able to get me behind the door. I was shocked, and we are moving into an age where this is going to become more prevalent. Maybe not so quickly in loan signings, but with many other documents. Okay, believe me, UPS stores and FedEx and all these other companies wouldn't be advertising Ron on their receipts and on their websites right now if it wasn't a thing, if it wasn't a viable thing. And I will tell you, I have competed with some of the biggest companies out there and succeeded. And I am no different than you. There's nothing special about me that isn't special about you. The only thing I did was put one foot in front of the other and walk at a steady pace. And I've always said this, it doesn't matter if you're taking small or large steps toward a goal. As long as you are working toward that goal, you will achieve it. So I want to make sure that you understand that Ron is not as scary as you think it is. It's not as unattainable as you think it is. And you are smarter than you ever think you'll be. Most people underestimate themselves. They let their nerves and their brain get ahead of them. And that's what the only person holding you back in life is you. There's no one out there that can hold you back except for you. So if you want to become a Ron notary, now your state might be able to hold you back if you don't have the right credentials or if it's not approved there yet. But if you're in a state like California where it gets approved, you want to be the very first one to sign up. You want to be the first one, the pioneer, because you will be the one. Now, if you're in a state that's been approved for a while, You want to become someone's competition. You know, that's just true. You want to become the competition. And how do you do that? Marketing. Okay, we talked about with signing agencies. You want to make sure your email signature includes that you are a remote online that you can perform remote online notarizations. If you can, add a link to a page on your website that talks about what you can do and what platforms you're on, but include what platform you're on. You know, free marketing advice here. When you're communicating with signing agencies or title companies, they're going to see your signature. I've always said have your phone number and the areas you service written in your signature. Now I'm saying add what platform you're on. Can you perform remote online notarizations? I want to tell this to a lot of people because I think and I'm well aware that sometimes it can sound like I'm talking down to people. And I've worked really hard on myself the last couple of years, for anybody that knows me, to change my way of speaking, because a lot of times I say things and I don't mean them the way that they come out. So I want to make sure that this comes out right. But it's funny to me, adding a logo to your website for Ron or on your business card, that's not going to cut it. Most people don't even know what that is. People don't know, the general public doesn't know what Ron is. It doesn't know what remote online notarization is. You have to use the right terminology for the general public. Virtual notarization, you know, write a little blurb about it so that people understand, and saying I can do remote online notarization in your email signatures when you're communicating with the general public. By the way, if you happen to be traveling and need a document notarized, I am able to notarize your document over the internet for you. Write out a short blurb that explains what that is, or link it out to a place on your website with that. I do believe Google Business and Yelp both allow you to add yourself in a category now for remote online notarization. So you want to make sure that you've tagged yourself in any platform that allows you to. Notary Stars, Online Notaries Public, Google Business, Yelp. And if they don't have a place, write it in your bio. Okay. On platforms like Signing Order, SnapDocs, ZigSig, they have boxes now where you can tag yourself as a remote online notary, but take it a step further. So let me explain why I'm telling you this, because it's really, really important. For instance, on Signing Order, you can tag yourself as a remote online notary, but then there's nowhere for you to put your platform. Okay. We can filter you by if we need a notary in a certain state. We can filter if we need a Ron notary. You have to help the signing agency out, okay, by putting in your bio what platform you're working on. What platforms are you proficient on? Nexus ClearSign is not going to mean anything in your profile, because we can't process through Nexus ClearSign, because Amrock owns that and they only do their loans on it. So you have to put bring your own business platform in there. Now, still don't mind saying that you work with Amrock and that you work with Amrock on Nexus ClearSign, because that signals to me that you've been doing Ron notarizations. So you know a little bit about it. Now I need to know what platforms you're on that bring your own business. And I would make them in all caps, not the entire bio, but the sentence. I'd put like, you know, available platforms, Cyberize it, eNotary Log, Blue Notary, you know, whatever platforms you have, so that it really stands out to those schedulers, because they already know what the title company needs. You're not seeing that part of the communication when they put in a note that says it has to be, you know, done on this platform. So we have an additional step that we need your help. You have to meet us halfway so that you can get it. Case in point, I don't know if she's here tonight, I like to always prove myself when I say things. I got a text message from a notary, and they are not an e-notary at all. She is a Notary Star, been a Notary Star for years now, has done plenty of work with Unlimited Ink, but she sent me a text message and said, hey, Ronnie, I received all these orders for Alabama, for whatever, Florida, you know, and she has marked herself as a Ron notary. She was on the platforms we needed. And it said that the property was located in those states, but she declined 10 orders last month because she didn't understand that we were sending her Ron orders. And she was like, I'm so glad I asked, you know, because that's 10 orders. I mean, you know, just for let's say a Ron order, let's say it's 65. So that's 10 times 65. That's missing out on $650 of signings that would take an hour or less on a Ron platform. Because right now we're only doing single document seller files or debt settlements on Ron. We very rarely do loan transactions at the moment. So that would have been about $650. That's definitely, if you drive the kind of car I do, that's 2 car payments. But that's money. That could be your gas while you're out doing that, and you don't have to spend gas on it.
I have a suggestion on the platforms, especially on signing order. You can go under your profile and under languages, you can put in languages. So you have the option to check English, Spanish, French. You can type in, I speak Notarize, I speak eNotary Log, I speak Pavaso. I don't know if anybody does, but it said you can put in those platforms as your languages, and then it becomes filterable that way too.
That brings me to another point that a very valuable point, because I know we have a lot of bilingual notaries on this call. Thank you for jogging my memory on that. I did the best with trying to stay on the notes here. By the way, guys, we are going to be wrapping this up in about 12 minutes. So if you have questions or things that you want to drag out of our minds today, please virtually raise those hands. We would love to hear from you, but we are going to be stopping, at the hour, because we know all of you are just itching to start your weekend. But with that said, please, if you are bilingual or if you speak multiple languages, mark yourself, because Amy and I both have had, I don't know how many conversations about trying to find notaries that speak certain languages, and we know you exist, but you are hard to find. So you may be marking yourself as, speaking Russian and, English, but forgot to mark that you're on certain platforms. And so it may come out, which is every little nuance makes it harder to schedule, right? So let's just say that I need an Alabama notary that speaks Portuguese, but also is on one of 3 platforms. That narrows that list down really far. And let me tell you something. I know I see Miss Nancy Fauché up here. She speaks French. Okay. I guarantee you I can go to signing order right now and try to find a Ron notary that speaks French, and they won't be in there. They're not marked in there. And that means that if you are a bilingual notary and you can conduct signings in another language, you are not going to miss those signings. Okay, especially if you've heard this conversation. But you have to fill out those profiles or you're not going to get found. When you are easily found and you are the only one, let me tell you something. You will have repeat business. You will be remembered. It will be a golden little ticket. And then make sure that client knows, don't just call me for second language. I speak English as well. And that's where you have an in. And it only takes one time for that special language to open a door really wide for you. I love that we have hands raised. Mr. Griffin, I'd love to hear from you.
Hey, what's going on, Doc?
I'm glad to see you.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I didn't put my video up. Hold on, let me get this straight real quick. All right, there we go. Yeah, I just finished doing some house inspections. All right, one of the things that I've been running into is, because I do a lot of face-to-face, 60, 70 a month, a lot of the signing order, yours included, will call me like same day, 30 minutes, can you get on Duran? And I use .verify, and I like to get people prepped before they go on .verify, the signers, because if I don't, with the email thing and some videos that I need them to watch, they have a hard time. But when they go through the process, I have no issues. And the problem I'm having is just the timing of the very, very last minute. Hey, we got this at 3 o'clock. I'm being called at 2. They need .verify. And I just don't have the time to be able to get everything set up like I want to make sure that it's successful, especially when the person might be foreign, might need a credible witness, things of that nature, because I know y'all was doing some stuff from out of Florida. And I'm just trying to figure out how that I can better support y'all with these last minute signings. Is there any way y'all know ahead of time? Like if I had like 2 or 3 days ahead of time that something's coming up, then I can sort of clear my schedule and be better prepared. Because the direct clients that I do have, mainly lawyers and title people, they give me, most time they'll give me like a week notice or 3 day notice. And then I can say, okay, I'm not going to accept any, face to face during this time period, so that I could be there for them when, when they say they got it ready.
Yep. Mr. Griffin, I'm going to comment on that, but before I do that, I'm going to put you back on mute and
Yeah.
put you back in listen only mode because you are driving a car, and that
I know it's making
I am
noise.
sitting here about to have a panic attack for you. Put your eyes on the road, and you can call me anytime to talk to me directly about it, or we'll make an episode just for you if you want. But I love you too much
Yes,
to
sir.
take your eyes off the road.
Got you, my man.
So one of the things that I will tell you about suggestion is for getting prepared is, I don't believe, Amaral kind of spoils people because it's already tagged up for you. You can't do that as a raw notary. You've got to be able to use that platform just like you're doing a regular notarization. And sure, it's a luxury if you want to pre-tag, but Bill will tell you, I will not pre-tag notarizations anymore because you are wasting time, because some transactions cancel and you are just double working. You've got to be able to go through those documents, throw down those boxes to be able to notarize, and go with the flow. Because if I have to pre-tag documents and then it cancels, you are just creating stress for yourself and extra work that you didn't have to do. Bill, would you agree on that, or?
I pre-tag, but I do it the night before. I have a system that I do every day. I send out my emails the night before to the people saying, hey, you're going to get an invitation soon from this company, and this is the procedure you're going to go through. And depending on what company I'm going to put it through, that's what I do. And then I go in, I upload the documents, and I pre-tag them. The only reason is because I do so many that I want to move as fast as possible from appointment to appointment. And if somebody slows me down in my 4 o'clock and I'm going to be late to the 5 o'clock or pushing it, I want to be able to step in and just go. So I pre-tag because it doesn't take me that long to do, but certain sites don't have hotkeys like certain other sites. And so it's easy for me because I just hit the letter Y, that's a signature. Letter 1 changes it to this person. Letter 2 changes it to that person. So I use all the codes to do it fast.
Okay. I just had my last time pre-tagging, there was a signing that failed KBA, and I pre-tagged it the first time, pre-tagged it the next time, pre-tagged it, and then we had to wait the lockout period, failed another 2 times, and I was like, I'm never pre-tagging again because I spent all that time. I spent more time preparing the documents than I ever did doing the notarization when it finally went through. So difference of opinion, but I would say, Amy, what's your
I
opinion?
want to say one thing.
Yeah,
I want to
you
say
are
you
off-
guys
you
are
guys
using
go
the
host.
wrong technology. No, so like on mine, I have a standardized form, and it says 1 signer, 1 notary, 2 signers, 1 notary, 3 signers, 1 notary. And I literally can just click the button. It puts all the tags on the page, and I just move them in the right spot. And I go to the next page, hit that button. It puts all the tags in the right spot. And then I can maneuver it, and I don't ever have to like manually drag or select or anything. And that's one of the things, you got to know your technology, because if you're in a platform that allows for that, it lets you go faster. In addition to that, we've got templates where I've created for like the passport application form, right? Then one parent's not going to be there, and we shared it across the entire platform. So all of the notaries can go click, boom, it's there. So it's definitely, tagging is a pain. I always pre-tag too if it's more than 3 pages. So.
Got it. Again, I'm never doing it again, but I love that everybody, that's the thing about owning a business, right? Is everybody gets to do it the way that they want to do it. I'm pretty sure that Travis will probably want to pre-tag his because he's just starting in the Ron journey here as well. But I'm impatient, so I'd rather just do it as I go. We have another question from Helen up here. Helen, you can go ahead when you're ready. Can't hear you. I know you're not on mute, so it has to something to do with your volume there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yes. Hi, Ronnie. Hi,
Hi.
Amy. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good, good. I was just wondering because I'm just starting as a Ron, and also I'm starting the training on the loan signing agent with you with Notary Stars. And my question was because I've done a few Ron notarizations, like general notary work, but I wasn't sure. I mean, if I should like use your directly for online notarizations, but should I just put like general notary work until I finish the training, the full training? So to make sure that I am prepared, because I'm just doing like general notary work. I'm at Upwork. I just started a profile at Fiverr. So, I'm just trying just to get my feet wet, but not still with loan signing. So I wasn't sure. I don't know. I just wanted to know your opinion about it.
Really, really great question, Miss Helen. First of all, when you're working with loan transactions, yes, you want to wait just a little while, not forever. You do want to get the bearings of your platform. But if you understand how to do a loan signing in person, you may just want to make sure that you know how to log in, how to help someone else get logged in, how to tag those documents. But once you know that, don't wait for loan signings, because if you know loan signings and you know your platform, you are ready. But if you don't know your platform yet, then I would wait. But don't wait too long. You don't need to be, you just need to know how to log into your platform, perform the notarization, tag the documents, how to help another customer get logged in, and you need to know how to do a loan signing, of course. But that's all you need to know how to do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Really great question, because that goes along the fear, because you might be afraid. You can mess up in a Ron transaction just like you can in a loan signing. And just to throw in food for thought on that topic, you also need to know how to manipulate Adobe. And we've got, in Notary Stars, let's say you do miss a signature in Adobe and you go back and you check it and you have to run them through the Ron platform again. You don't need to upload an entire loan package. You need to know how to cut out the pages that you need, upload those only, and say, hey, I have to put you back through just for one document or one signature that we missed. You can make errors on a loan transaction just like you can on Ron, but you need to know how to cut it down so you don't put the signer through an entire loan package again.
Okay, yeah, of course. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have, I have to say it this way, Miss Jackson, you're up next.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, so sorry. I apologize for coming in late. I just finished the closing and it ran later than planned. So maybe what I'm asking you've already talked about, but I'm one of those scared to jump in the deep end of the pool when it comes to Ron, but I know I need to do it because that's just a major piece of business that I'm missing out on. So do you guys offer a Ron training class? Is there a preferred platform that I should be on so I can start getting that business?
So today is more about pushing you into becoming a Ron notary. I really hope that you'll watch the replay on our YouTube channel. If you just go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, it'll notify you tomorrow when this replay comes out. And at the beginning of this episode, and I'll recap this at the end, we're not doing any preferred platforms tonight, or things like that. Or I want you to watch the intro up to where you came in, because I think it'll more explain about what this is about. But at Notary Stars, we do offer Ron training. We don't train on platforms, but we train you on, a lot of different facets about Ron, getting you more comfortable with Ron. No one can train you on a platform but that platform. That's going to be the best training you're going to get for the platforms you choose. Now, we've brought in platforms all for the last year and a half, and interviewed them, and there's tear sheets inside on each one and a video presentation on each one at Notary Stars. And we're continuing to bring in Ron platforms. So that's what our Ron training is so that you can make the best informed decision over which one's best for you. And then Bill takes you through all kinds of different things you can do with Ron and how to do it and best processes. So that's his function in his course. Is, you know, he's pretty much uploaded his entire brain to Notary Stars.
So with that, again, when I logged on initially, I understand that you run a loan signing business, and I heard something about how you'll reach out to notaries and they're not ready and all that. So when you get work, Ron's, through your business, is there a preferred platform that you want a notary on, or does it matter?
So yes and no. We have some clients that don't mind what platform we use. Their underwriters don't care. We have some that say you have to be on certain platforms. Right now, I would say we're at the point of level of business where it doesn't really matter which one you're on, as long as you have a bring your own business and you know how to use it. We have one client that has one lender that requires a specific platform. And that's the only one that lender, and she always lets us know ahead of time what platform that'll be. But again, they work with so many lenders that one request, we're not requiring any notaries because we have enough notaries on that particular platform. But I actually don't like that platform, and they don't either. It just happens to be the only one that got approved. So we're not pushing notaries to pick a particular platform. We want them to pick the one that works for them the best.
Okay. Okay.
And real quick, Ronnie, we bring up that, underwriters and different people prefer platforms. But when you get into a platform and you encounter a hurdle where somebody won't send you work because of the platform, all you got to do is reach out to the platform and let them know and do a warm introduction. Usually the platform just has to fill out an application, except for Fidelity. Fidelity is a beast, but on all of the other situations, you most likely can get your platform approved. I've been approved by an underwriter in 45 minutes, and that client, the notary, was able to take off and do the signing. So always communicate.
Yeah, communication is a big key. Next question. Now we're going to cut questions after these last two here because we're a little bit over time, and I know that some of you are anxious to start your weekend, and we have to think about those East Coast notaries that are probably even starving because they took an extra hour tonight to be with us. Our next question comes from Bo McDonald, and I just want to introduce him this way. Bo works for us with us almost every day at Unlimited Ink, and he is probably one of my longest running notaries of a relationship. Just looking, he did 2 files for us today, and I also consider him to be probably one of Arizona's greatest assets as a notary. You never know, he's probably going to wind up being one of the trainers that you turn to one day, because he lends a lot of his time to answer questions to notaries and help them out. So Bo, what would be your question?
Well, thank you for that. Also, I just wanted to, Ms. Jackson asked several of the questions I had, but I just am wondering, is there a step-by-step checklist to like get your notary or your Ron commission approved, then do this, then do this, then do this? Like I just haven't really come across a place, and I know that's gonna be state by state, maybe, I don't know. Or is there a training I just need to go watch that covers all that?
I mentioned this earlier for the Arizona notaries. I think I'm going to put together just like a weekend class in the next 2 weeks to just help anybody that's looking to get their notarization done. I actually wrote a secret blog that only went out to Arizona notaries that for Unlimited Ink a while back, and I think I might have shared it to you, but I can share it to you again. It's really simple. Once you have your commission, then you have to add your Ron commission. In most states, it's usually 2 different commissions, but Arizona puts it on the same. They just give you an updated commission with your commission on there. From there, you have to make sure that you have your notary stamp. I got mine from the NNA. Bill can take you through all of that, and his training really goes through all of that at Notary Stars. But there's not really a step-by-step. You just have to have that Ron commission. And then the platform that you choose to work with, and we have all of that under the hood at Notary Stars as well, pretty much every platform. The platform that you choose to work with is going to tell you what they need from you. So some of them, they give you your digital certificate. Is that what it's called, Bill? The digital certificate? They give you your digital certificate. And some of them will even give you a stamp. But I get mine from the NNA, just because, you know, I'm sorry, but I trust the NNA on my stamp, so I'd rather use something from the NNA. And that's it. Then you just need to train on the platform. It's not really a elongated process. It's not like, you know, it's not like becoming a notary and finding out how to do loan signings. I mean, you already know how to do those. It's just adding a tool that you can use to do more notarizations.
Okay. And you said that Bill has a training on Notary Stars about kind of that stuff.
Yeah, we have a whole Ron journey on Notary Stars up across the top. We have the, you know, we have the free training, then we have the, you know, members only training, then we have the Ron training, and then we have the marketing training. So under that tab, there's tons of information, and he's done a class a week since May. Yeah, or not, I think it was May last year. So it's been over a year.
Right. I've been fighting this for a while, but I finally fought our Secretary of State's office and got the thing approved. So I need to get the rest of it set up.
Yeah, I'll in Arizona, just based on today's conversation, I'll see if I can't put together like a Saturday class for Arizona notaries pretty soon.
All right. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bo.
Thanks.
And then our last question for today is Miss Monique Mitchell. Miss Monique, good to see you.
Hey, how you doing, Ronnie?
Great, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I have a quick question. I don't know if it's appropriate for this meeting or maybe on another Friday with the Ron training. But when I've seen through Unlimited Ink a couple of times a Ron notarization is available. Who's the client? Like if I can bring my own client, I'm on Blue Notary.
Mhm.
Is Unlimited Ink my client or the signer?
That's a really great question. So you're going to put in the signer as your client on Blue Notary so that
Okay.
you can send them. You're still working on behalf of us, but you're going to have to put in the client that's signing the documents as the client, because that's who needs to receive the invitation to join you in a meeting.
Okay, I haven't figured out how to do it with a signing service, which is why I'm asking, because Blue Notary charges me $25 for a loan package.
Yep. So what you're going to do is you're going to put in the signer, okay? And then
Okay.
you're going to invoice on signing order, just like you normally do. When you close, it's going to close out in Blue Notary. You kind of have to think of it this way. You took the business from Unlimited Ink, you put it into your platform, then you turn around and upload it back to Unlimited Ink. So on Blue
Okay.
Notary, the client that's signing the documents is your client.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, the thought process would be, just like if you were doing it in person, you would have the fee of printing and traveling, and you incur that fee that in a Ron session, you incur that $25 fee up front, and then you're waiting on the invoice that's going to come in payment by check to, 30 days, 60 days later.
Mhm.
And then that's how you recoup that $25.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Now, guys, one little final recap, and then I want to ask, and then while I'm doing this, I would love to ask you to turn on your cameras, because we're going to be doing our little outro in just a moment. I really want to thank you for being here today, but I just kind of want to recap some sentiments for those who got in here late. And then please, if you got here late, go back and watch the very beginning, because I think I said it better at the beginning, because I'm trying to get those who are hungry out of here so nobody passes out. I know how I get when I'm hangry. But waiting to become a Ron notary, if it's available in your state, is a really bad idea. Okay, there are pioneers in other states taking your business. There are pioneers in your state taking your business, and those notaries who are doing Ron right now, they're getting not only your remote online notary business, but they're also going to be getting your paper signings, because they're becoming the go-to notary. They are advanced. They are able to take those notarizations. They're able to do things, and you don't want these lists to fill up with Ron Notaries and your name not be in it or be at the bottom of it. Okay, a lot of signing agencies, if you're heavily relying on signing agencies, are first come, first serve as they build their list. They reward those notaries that have been with them longer, and you have to fight to get up at the top of those lists when you are just starting out. So we are at a time right now where signing agencies are having a harder time finding notaries. You know, please go back through this video and listen to the component of how to get found and why it's a bad idea to wait. We wanted to do this today because it's really important for you guys to understand, and you have resources to help you. You know, Notary Stars has a Ron training platform. We have interviews with Ron platforms. We have training as a loan signing agent if that's your hurdle, you know, and if you don't want to do it at Notary Stars, please get it somewhere else. We are not the be all end all of training. We do our best and we try very hard to provide you with excellent training, but don't let fear, fees, or frequency of use keep you from expanding your business, because you can start now and not be left behind. But I promise you, we are at the point now, if you don't start now, you're gonna get left behind. That wave is coming. Okay, go look at the checkout counters in any grocery store and tell me how many checkouts you see compared to, you know, go to any CVS. There's one cashier and everybody else is using self-checkout. Go to Walmart and see how many people are in the self-checkout with one person overseeing it. It's going to happen, and it's happening now. Now, is it going to happen tomorrow? No, but we've got a clock ticking. And this is why those who are listening now or in the near future really need to get over their fears and get started. So with that said, if you are not naked and you are not stuffing your face with a sandwich because it's way past dinner time on the East Coast, please turn on your cameras and let's give our signature wave. Wave to yourself. If you're coming back to watch the replay, wave to all those future notaries that are going to find this and be inspired to get started with their Ron journey. Wave to anybody that couldn't be here tonight, because I know there was a lot of people who wrote me and said, I can't wait, please record it, which I did. And, you know, Miss Beth is not here with us tonight because she's at a dinner, but I'll say it the way that she says it sometimes. All of us are in the same ocean, okay? And some of us are in yachts, some of us are in canoes, some of us are on little speedboats, but we're all in the same ocean. And whenever you get to where you're going in this industry, just remember to reach back and pull somebody along with you. Okay. Thanks, guys. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.